That is a dope logo.
Love it.
John made it for us. We love it.
Love you, John.
We aren't doing Father Evil because it is the Mother's Day show, so we get zombies.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Before them stood the house of their nightmares.
I dreamt of doors and shadows.
You can't see anything. It is scary as fuck.
Hey, everybody. Welcome
Hey.
to another episode of Owl Light Society on our Thank Cthulhu It Is Sunday lineup. We here at the Owl Light are here to say Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, and tonight's theme is going to be mothers. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And
Yay.
I'm drinking. So, yay!
Did anybody let Danzig know? 'Cause he likes to sing about mothers.
Mother.
Thank you. Well, we didn't listen, so
Give me some
sorry,
Danzig.
Danzig.
If we didn't have copyright issues, that definitely would have been played.
Well, yeah.
That's the
'cause
opening
the-
for us.
well,
Verity.
yeah.
That's okay. I can sing it for you, and then we won't be copyright issued.
Yeah, it's all good. So again, as I said before the show, happy Mother's Day to the mothers watching and the mothers that are here. And I don't know. And then there's us guys. So we appreciate the moms, of all kinds, and not just moms, maternal figures. They all
Yeah.
get the credit. Grandmas and sisters and all other manifestations of motherhood. So to all of you, by God, I hope you got like a spa day or something. Or if not a spa day, like a really good drink and probably a decent meal, at least a 3-star restaurant.
My wife got a grill because that's what she wanted, was a big old barrel style Texas grill.
There you go. See? It's very simple. She got that. My mom got flowers and Carrie got a fantastic deal on Coke Zero. Boom. Everybody wins.
Does Waffle House
Right.
count?
Yes.
Every day.
My sister.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Mhm.
sister every year her mother-in-law comes in and plants her flower beds for her. And it's an ongoing joke that every year she kills all of the flowers. She just cannot keep them alive. So she gets a brand new set of flowers every time. And this year Donnell showed up and put in fake ones. Very, very, very realistic looking fake ones. And then mom brought a hanging plant to put over on the side that's a real plant. But so she installed her fake flowers so she would stop killing everything.
That is epic.
Yeah.
That is quite epic.
I believe they call that maintaining the lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Santa Claus of your garden. Oh no, that's exactly what it is. You keep watering it, just take good care of it and sing to it. It's going to continue to grow. Those plants are fake, right? No, they're not. My love isn't fake, so clearly they're growing. They have not grown a single inch since we planted them. Yet they're still alive.
Yeah, I'd push them farther down into the ground than ever so often when no one was paying attention, like raise the level, just to trick people to believe that they were growing.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
I might go
Just
double up on
slowly.
some of them and make them thicker, so
Yeah. Once in a while.
that could work.
That'd be epic.
Oh,
So how's
or or you can move them and then act like, no, you planted it over here. Like, I'm losing my mind. I was like, slowly driving mom crazy.
If we move them just an inch every morning,
Yep.
by next fall, it'll be in the neighbor's yard.
And then they find it in a pot in the bed.
Yeah.
So what were you saying, Carrie?
I was just saying we're gonna have some fun tonight. We're all gonna talk about moms, and
Yeah.
I'm glad they come. But because Drew buys his mom the flowers every year to put in her flower beds. When I heard about that happening to my sister, I was just like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Because and I got flowers too, but not plantable ones because I don't have anywhere to put them. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Listen, we're about consistency in my family. If I know somebody, if that's something I know that they like, I see no reason to change course. I was like, this is something to look forward to, something you like. But I'm so meticulous when I'm picking out the flowers. I'm like, okay, I already got the red. Okay, well, I'm gonna get some purple, gonna get some tiger lilies, some daffodils. I'm just gonna make this pop. And I'm just like, why am I like this? And I'm just sitting there muttering to myself, and then I just think, man, and everyone else at the nursery are doing the same goddamn thing. So I'm just like, I could just see everyone's like, okay, we're gonna get this and that. Although, side note, for any moms who are gardening, don't ever buy and plant petunias because they come with worms that will kill the plant and then try to get the rest of your garden. So spoiler alert there. Begonias, yay. Petunia, nay. Horses eat hay. Rhymes. You're welcome, everyone. So, also, I feel like we should also give credit to some of the great horror moms. And the one that always comes to mind to me is the best horror mom of all, Pamela Voorhees. Got to give credit. She loved her little boy so much, she killed people for it. And so I know this because somebody sent me a really rough drawing of Pamela hugging her boy, and I'm just like, she really did love him. I was like, even though he was like, whoa.
I can only think of one mom that could be better, or at least is equal, and that's going to be Norma Louise Bates, because a boy's best friend is his mother.
That is, that I was going to say, I think they might be tied.
Yeah.
Except Norman is just a little under, because while Jason killed for mommy, Norman killed mommy and then became mommy. So there's a little
there was a whole thing going on.
Yeah.
We can't forget Mother Firefly.
Oh, and also, I feel like we should give an honorary mention from SNL, because Famous Mothers, today was his day.
Yeah.
And it's because someone sent me that meme, and I have not stopped thinking, just Famous Mothers, the day is mine.
I used to love those kids so much, man.
Oh, so good. But, moms, and I need to also say another thing. We also acknowledge that for some people who perhaps lost their mother or maternal, that today might be a difficult day. So we, of course, sympathize. And if today is a day that you're like, nope, I was like, nope, totally understand and respect. The same way that even though I don't get it, that some people are like, nay to Christmas, I'm like, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, even if I feel it's wrong. That's you, man. And Raz, we've talked about this, because I am the spirit of Christmas and you are the spirit of Scrooge. So it's fine because you explained your reasoning. So I was like, you are allowed, you blood-soaked Grinch.
See, I feel like I am more the Grinch, though, because there is that opportunity that someone could have to change my mind. Like, I leave my mind open about it. I don't like it, but if something were to like really make my heart grow 3 sizes larger that day on Christmas, it could maybe happen one day.
Yeah,
like maybe when I have grandkids, maybe I'll be a completely different mindset then,
Yep.
It's possible.
Yeah, I can just see you now sitting on, let's talk the story of Christmas, okay?
I've already got my grandpa name picked out for when it happens. I'm going to be Pops. That's going to be my name.
All right. Are you going to be one of those, like, those dads who, they have a rocking chair, but it probably has, like, a knife concealed or a gun somewhere? Yep. So then,
what makes you think I don't have that now?
I'm just saying, I just feel like that's a you move. It's the same thing. Like, I'm still convinced Carrie has a body somewhere stashed in her apartment.
I've got my old man wooden pipe. I roll my own cigarettes already, and I'm ready to go for Grandpa. Like I'm ready for him.
Well, listen, it's the same thing like Jenny. I'm just convinced she can't be that nice. I was like, she's got to have bodies buried somewhere. She has a lot of property. He was just like, oh, I'm sorry, you're gonna mess with my kid. We're gonna take a walk through the swamp now, and then you'll see how you feel.
Why do you think she likes graveyards so much? He uses them frequently.
Yeah, I don't know.
I literally own
Makes her own.
cemetery plots.
There you go. See, proving my point. You gotta be careful of the nice ones because they'll kill you. I mean, what? So mothers.
Yes.
So, and also, Ron, I apologize. I don't know if I've been with on the show, but if we have, hello again. If we haven't, nice to meet you. And yes, because my memory is a little spotty sometimes of new people on different networks. So I didn't want to not acknowledge you there, Ron. So hello.
Hello. We actually have been on a show together before. But,
Cool.
That's okay. I know that I'm not very memorable.
I didn't say that. I did not. Hold on, stenographer. Carrie? Did I say that? Did I ever say that? Carrie, don't answer that. Okay, you're gonna sink me. Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna ask Jenny. No, no. Actually, Raz would just do the opposite, just because he likes the drama. So never mind. I never said that though. It's good to see you again, Ron.
Me too.
Mothers.
So mothers.
Okay, so mothers.
Yes.
We're gonna do the show kind of. We've been working on getting this a little bit closer together, so we're gonna try to shorten the amount of time we speak between stories. But I know Drew came and is joining us with need to get back to some of the stuff he's doing. So we're gonna let him go first, so that he can leave whenever he needs to.
Who? I'm sorry. What happened? Me? What? Hold on.
I thought you had to go early, so that you were going first.
Well, no, it's fine. But I mean, it's not like I was like, oh my god, I gotta go now. I just like. I mean, you put me on the spot, so now I feel like I have to go because I'm.
But you don't have to. I mean, anybody can go.
Whoa.
We were being courteous.
Listen, Raz, I understand you got to support your gothic sister in arms, but calm down, buddy. Like I got it. Okay. I'm in the zone. Auto zone. Okay. Give me a second. So Carrie, I just need to, and I should have asked this when we were bantering before the show. Am I reading a story or am I recollecting a story? Does it matter?
No.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
As long as if you're reading something, it is either yours or it is in the public domain, or you have permission to do it. That's the only thing. It has to either be your own stuff or you can just recollect something like some fun times with your mom or something like that.
Okay, this is hard. No pun intended. This is difficult because I feel like with my mother. Okay, I need to stress something here. So my mom put up with a lot. So I need to stress that because if you've ever met me, I'm a lot. And Carrie can attest to this because she's met me in person. And so growing up, my mom always encouraged certain things. And my mom was one of the people that really understood my love of Ghostbusters. So she was like, no, that's fine. It's his thing. Although, as my sister pointed out, I think my mom in the beginning thought I was going to be Alan Grant from Jurassic Park because I loved dinosaurs so much. I was digging this gigantic hole in our backyard, convinced I was going to find a dinosaur's bone somewhere. I didn't. I did clear a lot of the rocks in the backyard, though. So, helping out however I can, although I was not paid for my time. So labor laws. So my mom had rules about certain things I could like, which I always found funny because Ghostbusters, no problem. Small Soldiers, Street Sharks, Godzilla, all that. The one that she, for some reason, did not like was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I do not understand this in any way, shape, or form. I was like, Mom, you have no problem with grown men with nuclear accelerators in the back busting ghosts. But yeah, and she was like, no, I think they're stupid. Turtles in a sewer eating pizza, stupid. And it's funny because I think I peer pressured a friend to buy me a turtle for Christmas. Not like an actual turtle, like in a tank, like a Raphael. And I have it. And my mom saw right through it. She was like, you peer pressured your friend down the street to buy that for you because you knew that I wasn't going to do it. And it sits on my dresser in my old room. as a nice little reminder that where there's a will, there's a way, which is a different franchise. But my mom always encouraged being a Ghostbuster. When I was decided I was going to finally do it, my mother was the one who sewed the patches, being that she was always handed with a needle. She sewed the patches onto my first Ghostbuster uniform, and my name tag and stuff, because I had no fucking idea what I was doing. I was like, I got like a C in sewing class. And that's why every year I always post this photo me and her took on Mother's Day one year, where I'm in my GB2 uniform and she's in my GB1, and we take this photo. I'm holding my ghost trap and she's holding my Slimer puppet that she got me when I was 3. It's a Slimer hand puppet. One day, Carrie, I'll bring the Spud on so you and your squirrel, whose name we never get right, Ratoska or something like that. Yeah. And yeah, I love my mom, and I've always credited that, while I may be a Ghostbuster, behind every great Ghostbuster, there's definitely a mom that was like, yeah, it could have been worse. And end story.
Nice.
Thank you. End story. I just didn't want to look at me anymore. I'm good. I look at me every time I look in the mirror, and I'm like still not impressed. Did I say, Carrie? Do we ever say it right, or are we always saying it wrong?
Ratatosker.
Okay, you know what? Listen, good for you. You work with her so much more.
Mythology, man.
I understand that, okay, but there's a lot of mythologies and a lot of names and pronunciations, okay? Can't remember everybody. It's a crowded multiverse, Raz. Jesus.
I read across that picture on your feed earlier today. I absolutely fucking love it, man.
Yeah, I know. That's me.
Yeah.
That's me and my mom.
I was trying to pull that up. That's why I was late on getting you back up.
That's fine. Yeah.
I mean, that's
Gotta
one of the
grab it,
reasons I
say
like
about it.
why Stranger Things hooked me so hard, because I remember being in elementary school and loving Ghostbusters in the 80s, and I wanted to go. I wanted to be Egon so fucking bad. That's who I wanted to be, was Egon. And my mom took an old pair of like my dad's coveralls, shortened them, and did all the patches, and I got to go to school and do the little school candy parade. And from the moment I saw the beginning of that season, I was just like, okay, this is my show. D&D and Ghostbusters, I'm in.
Son of a bitch, I'm in. No, yeah.
Exactly.
So and it's funny because for years I keep trying to find something me and my dad can do, so I can have like an equivalent Father's Day picture. But I think the only thing my dad likes is the Mets, the Jets, and drinking beer. So I feel like what I'll probably do is because he has a mustache, I think I'll just get him a Scotty uniform and just yell at him, just like, we need more power. All right, Captain, I'm giving her all she's got. She's at the ring, just so then we can do that. But no. So moms, the right mom embraces her kid is fucking weird, and just helps them be the weirdest, greatest kid in the world. And yeah, that's why we love our parents, and we applaud them because they were the first ones who said, you're not that weird, could be worse. So that's my mom's story. I don't know, who's someone else, please.
I can go next.
Ready?
I'm fine with that. Yeah, I can go.
Okay.
There we go. So I don't talk a lot about my mom too much on the show. No particular reason why, just doesn't come often. So I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you a story. There's some fiction and there's some reality here, because that's how I, like to do my storytelling. What you have to understand is that my mom, you guys think I'm odd. I get all this from my mother. She taught me how to build my first severed head with special effects when I was 9. Like, I was raised into horror because that was her passion, and it became my passion. I became a haunter because my mom took me my first haunt as an actor when I was 12. Like, all the things that I love and that are odd about me are things that my mother loved and, showed me appreciation for from a young age. But the one thing my mother struggled with was the love of animals, like family pets. And it wasn't that she didn't love them. It's just that sometimes we worry that she loved them to death, like Elmira from Tiny Toons to some degree. It started probably when I was about 8. We had It was one of these little talking birds. It wasn't like a parakeet. It was like it was similar to parakeet, but it had another name. I can't remember the name of it right now. But it was a little songbird. We have this thing. Everybody in the family loved it. Dad had to leave for a while to go, somewhere across the seas for work. And me and my sister, and my brother, we were going to get to see my grandma for a week. We come back, bird's dead. That was like the big first family pet loss. And Mom proceeds to tell us the story where she thought that maybe the bird needed fresh air. So she picked up its cage and she took it outside and she sat on the front porch for a while so it could say hi to its friends. And then she went inside, and then she forgot it was out there. And she went outside a couple hours later to check on it, and it was dead. She said it was stiff as a board, clinging to its perch and just dangling. And the wind was just blowing the little swing across with the dead bird just upside down on it. That's kind of how it started. And this progresses into the time the hamsters got loose. And we spent 3 days tearing the house apart looking for 2 hamsters. And my mother gave one a heart attack, because one was coming out from underneath the bed and I could see it, and all I could see was its eyes. I was like, oh my God, I see its eyes. It's freaking me out. Mom shows her face under the bed to see if it was under there and goes, I got you. And it just looks at her, and it just literally, I watched it. It was getting up on its hind legs, and it just fell over dead. It died of a heart attack. Dogs sometimes would mysteriously run away, and it would be, I opened up the back door to let some air in, and I guess the dog's gone. I didn't realize it. That's happened a couple times. She once took one of my lizards on a walk because I had a leash for it. And the reason I had a leash for this iguana was for around the house, because we had other animals, and iguanas are very fast. And there's a special type of leash you can get for them in the home to make sure, if you have other animals, to keep them safe and keep them getting away and, being in danger. She thought that this leash was so I could take the lizard on walks, and was convinced that I was taking it out in public with a leash. I was not, by the way. I come home to find my iguana and my sister's iguana gone, because she took them both out on the leashes and did not adjust them properly, and they escaped. There was the time my sister's guinea pig exploded. That was another one of those weird stories where we came back and Mom said, I was giving the guinea pig the bath like I always. I don't really understand how this happened, because science does not. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But she needed to dry it quick, and the hairdryer broke. So she put it on this little pedestal thing, right? And she opened the microwave, and she just turned the microwave on so the air from the microwave would come out, because it was one of the old fucking microwaves that would run whether the door was open or not. And she was drying the guinea pig, and according to her, it exploded. I doubt it exploded. I think it just died, and she made up a weird, funny story but I don't know why she thought the story of a guinea pig exploding would be less terrifying than, the guinea pig just dying. But that's my mom for you. And then there was the time we had the hedgehogs. We were a hedgehog family for a while, and it was summertime. Everybody's out on vacations. Mom's like, I'm going to take care of the hedgehogs. And I'm like, Mom, I got somebody that can come over. We're fine. I leave. She calls the friend and says, don't worry about it. I got it. Unbeknownst to me. I come back. Oh, I'm sorry. All 3 of the hedgehogs are dead. Well, how the fuck did that happen? Well, it was really hot outside. And I know that they were probably okay, but I picked up all the cages and I put them over the AC vent. And I think they died because they got too cold and they got sick. I'm just like, okay. This is like ages 8 to 15, so 7 years of my life, pretty much. Like this, all these dead animals, and we had a graveyard. We had a small one in the house I grew up in, but a pretty sizable one where she lives now. But the one where we used to live is where I want to actually start this story now that I've taken way too long to set it up. So
That's
by
all
this
setup?
point, yeah, this was the setup. So we probably got
crap.
at this point in time only about 10 dead family pets in the backyard of the house I grew up in. And I told you guys a lot about this house. This is the one that was terribly haunted, and a lot of terrible things happened in this house. One night, as usual, my dad's overseas, and it's just me, my mom, my sister, my brother. We pitch blankets on the floor, pillows, little horror marathon. We're chilling out. We hear these little scratches coming from the front door. So whatever, that's probably just a cat, neighborhood cat or a skunk or something like that. We don't give a shit. Not worried about it. A couple minutes later, we hear it, but it's louder, and it's multiple scratches. And Mom goes, kind of opens the front door, looks out the screen door, and she slams it real quick. And we're like, what's going on? She's like, oh, don't worry about it. Just neighbor cats. But she's acting real weird, and we're like, okay. So, we turn back to the movie we were watching. I'm pretty sure it was Ghoulies. And so we're just hanging out watching this movie. And we're enjoying ourselves halfway through the movie, the scratches. But they're coming out from the back door. The part of the house we don't go to because that's where the fucked up laundry room is that we're all terrified of this. So she goes over there. More scratches, except for this is like a metal outside doors, so like aluminum, so you can really hear like the skirt. She comes running back in the living room, sits down real quick. What's going on, Mom? It's just those neighbor cats again. Don't worry about it. But she's just nervous. Like she looks like she's sweating a little bit. Like she's, her eyes are darting around to windows, to doors, hallways. She's acting real off. At this point in time, we hadn't seen the shadow people. We hadn't seen any of the weirder shit or the dangerous shit that happened there in a couple weeks. We were almost lulled into this false sense of security that we were safe now, and nothing bad was going to continue to happen. So, movie's over. We're about to start another one. We decided we were going to watch Toxic Avenger 2. So, we get that rolling. And then the window down the hallway from my sister's room, you hear against the glass, like a lot of it. And my mom's like, don't worry about it, I got it. And I'm like, no. Because at this point in time, I want to know what the fuck's going on, and I'm the smallest and the youngest, so I dart in front of her, run back to the room, look out. Just really like pull open the drapes and look out. And there is a dead cat. A dead bird literally perched at the windowsill, and I look out. There's 2 dead hedgehogs there. I can't even tell what some of these things are. One looked like a reptile, and they're just at either the ledge or on the ground because it's just a one-story house. There's no multiple stories here, so you can literally just open the window and pop out, and you're outside, like standing on the ground. And I'm fucking terrified because I have no idea what the fuck is going on right now. Like nothing's moving. It's just there. Like someone dug up all these things out of our yard because there's dirt all over them. I mean, they're a mess. It looked like someone just dug them all up and just placed them there. And was making sounds to get us to come and see what the fuck was going on. That's the only thing that made sense to I think at the time I was 10. My 10-year-old brain was just like, what the fuck? My mom, pushes me aside, closes the drapes, and says, get the fuck back in the living room. So I run back in the living room, I sit down. My sister and brother are freaking out, what's going on? I'm starting to tell them. My mom's like, no. It was nothing. It's just somebody playing a prank. Don't worry about it. And I'm arguing with her at this point in time because I'm now starting to recognize and remember where I'd seen some of these animals before, and I'm pretty sure they were ours. I'm pretty sure that these are some of the pets that have died on our property over the years, thanks to her, one way or another. And again, now the front door, and we're in the living room, so it's right there. And my brother gets up, opens the front door, sees very much the same thing about a half an hour later. Them all perched there, and now he's got the door wide open. So I'm up there, my sister's up there, my mom is just fucking shaking and just bawling her eyes out. She just screams for us to shut the door. We shut it. A second after we shut it, scratches again. We open it. And this goes on and off like 10 minutes. We hear the scratch. We try to open the door to see who's doing it. We're trying to catch whoever is playing this prank. And finally, all night long, this goes on. We're down past Toxie 2. We decided to start the first 3 Elm Streets over again. We're halfway through part 2. And the back door now, it's like not just scratches, it's banging. We're hearing actual animal sounds now. So we rush to the door. We can hang over by the creepy ass laundry room, throw it open, and we run out, or we start to run out. These animals are now moving, just not quickly, just like they're actually moving. Like we caught them in act of one of the cats like actually scratching at this door, or appearing as if it was trying to scratch at the door. And the dogs are closer. All the animals are literally right on this stoop, like right at the fucking door. Like they're just going to take off into the fucking house. So we all start screaming, losing our minds. We slam the aluminum door so hard, we actually broke one of the hinges. We shut the window door on the inside, locked it, went to every window, every door, locked, bolted, every drape closed. We stopped playing any of the fucking movies, and we just all gathered back in the living room and sat there together all fucking night, where ever so often you hear those scratches on glass, scratches across the aluminum, the banging on shit all night until morning. By the time morning came along, it was quiet. We all got up. We looked at all the windows. We looked from the doors. We didn't see anything. And I decided we needed to check the yard because I was convinced that these were our animals. And I went back there, and sure enough, every single one of our little animals in our pet cemetery were all dug up. And this would have been the summer right before we moved, because we moved in the fall. So like, the summer right before everything happened that made us move. Never saw any one of those animals again the rest of my life, thankfully. But it was pretty terrifying. And that's the story.
Good Lord. And Carrie, you made me go first? God damn. I mean, I even put it in the chat. This is like Pet Cemetery meets Dr. Dolittle meets Night of the Living Dead. Like Raz, that's like it's like as you're talking it, I'm seeing this like in my head, and I'm just like, good Lord.
I appreciate it, man. And that means a lot to me. I practiced the art of storytelling very, very, very long time.
No, you did it. No, I was like literally seeing it. Especially it helps because then I know every movie you were watching. So I'm just and then just hear the scratching, and I'm just seeing them, and I'm just like, oh God, just spectral Pet Cemetery parade over here.
Yeah, she continued to kill pets long into my early adulthood, and when I moved out. So that's she never seems to have a pet of her own long. And does not get left with other people's pets for long without other people also coming to check in.
She's the Auntie Doolittle.
Yeah, and I mean, she truly does love animals, like legitimately loves fucking animals. It just something always happens. Like the guinea pig just explodes. The bird just dies in its perch and swings for eternity. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's just random.
She's Elmira.
Wow.
My favorite is the hamster heart attack. That's just precious.
If I hadn't been there for that, I would have not believed that a hamster could have died that way. I mean, I was torn between like it was my hamster too, my beloved hamster dying, and the fact of how it happened was just, I was crying while I was laughing at the same time, with my head half underneath the bed because I couldn't even move.
No, I have a story involving a hamster dying that's far more traumatic. I will tell you, this was only told to me once, but it was so horrifying that to me, and it happened. This hadn't happened to me. This is someone I know while they were babysitting. They were this friend of mine who was babysitting two kids, and they had one of those like tube things that you could put butterflies. Like, I think you could stuff like butterflies into, and then they would like shoot out all over the thing, like, all over the place. I don't know how, but the kids thought it'd be a good idea to put their hamster in the tube and let it crawl into. And well, let's just say that it wasn't exactly butterflies that ended up squirting out of the tube at the end. Babysit for them again.
While we're swirling off on hamster stories, I have one little like 20-second one to add in. My SO at the time was part of a band, and every time whenever they'd do a gig when we'd get off, we would go over to the one couple's house, and they'd do like paying everybody off and talking about what they needed to improve from their set and everything, and we'd all have a couple drinks. And they had a hamster that they kept in a hamster that they'd let play in a ball when people were over. Well, something that the drummer needed to get that night, and it was his house, was in his basement, and their basement was through a door that opened this way from the floor in their kitchen. And he forgot to close it before he put the hamster ball going. So you can hear this hamster, like before he went down there, it kept running into balls. You're like scuttle, 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 boom, scuttle, 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 boom. And it'd come into the room, and then it'd go back out into the kitchen again, and he left it open, and all of a sudden there's just like scuttle, scuttle, boom, 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 boom. But the hamster was okay. It was just a little dazed. So
okay, cool. Because I was like, please tell me that, like, I can't take any more pet tragedy right now. Like, Raz's Pet Cemetery's zombies, just like Like, I swear to God, Raz, you and Leo Pond need to just get together and just create your own comic book, like Tales of the Country. You know, our childhood was more goofed than you realize. Like, because you guys tell me these things, and then I suddenly realized that my childhood was like really great because it didn't have like snake wells or zombie pets.
I was in the
Or-
city.
What
I
happened?
mean, it's a smallish town, but it was still in a city environment.
Yeah, I know, but that doesn't matter.
Well,
But
that
the point
stuff was
being is-
anyway.
The point being is, you know, and it's also funny because I have family that live like in Pennsylvania, and that was the only time I ever learned of spookier things. Like, I was like, oh yes, we have ghosts in the family. Like, I was like, okay. Like, and I think, oh no, Westchester we don't have ghosts, and I was like, little did I know. You know, so you guys just said these things, and I was like, I went to the Bronx Zoo once. Like I feel like I just don't have good stories. And you guys like, yeah, we did this and this and this. But you see, Raz, when you tell the stories, I'm not full of as much fake rage as whenever Leo tells a story from his childhood. And Carrie can attest to that. Like, I just like shutting that down so hard.
I've seen.
Like, I'm just like, Leo, for the love of God, we don't need to hear any more about redneck, you know, horror hell house. Okay. It was like, oh yeah, you know, you could when you come to Rificon, you want to sleep over. I'm like, I will fucking murder you. Like, he's like, oh yeah, you know, come on in. You can get the snakes. I'll just let you sleep, and we'll just leave 2 hatchets there. I was like, Leo, I want to make this very clear. If I wake up and there is anything really creepy crawly in my sleeping bag, I will go so Liam Neeson on you. They will never find what's left.
With your specific set of skills.
This was an offer. There's a standing offer because he owns the property for any of us to stay at the snake house.
I want to. I actually want to.
No, you listen. You can have the hatchet house. Okay, I don't want it.
I've changed will travel.
And the worst thing is, as I know him, he's going to over exaggerate the spider problem, and I'm going to wake up and I'm like, Leo, I'm going to be very honest. If I wake up and there's a tarantula on my face, I will scream so hard, I will kill it, and then I'll turn that boot on you.
I'll just put it in my pocket. I'm cool. I like tarantulas.
I had a zombie elephant. Oh, cool. Nice. That's cool.
I bet it died. I'm part of a group of I've killed Stefan Lear, and I've killed him 3 times in books now. So
I bet. No, Carrie, you got to be careful killing an elephant because if it comes back as a zombie, it remembers. They hold grudges.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why you never fucked with Horton. He was an elephant man.
Mm-hmm.
He remembered everyone. Didn't matter who they were. Hey, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
All right. So
I'm gonna go next.
I think Carrie, my proverbial pumpkin is done. So I'm gonna leave. So
see you later, man.
I just wanted to say to all of you, thank you for having me briefly. It was very nice for the 38 minutes I had the energy for. Jenny, I'm sure your story is lovely. Whatever momly story you're gonna tell, and Ron, I'm sure everything you're gonna say is gonna be great too. So you know, good on you.
Remains to be seen, but I'll do my best.
Yeah, and
replay.
And Raz, I don't know how much of your story was true or not, but thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And Carrie, I don't know. Whatever it is, I know Mom Belina did you well. Okay.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, just briefly, everybody. Carrie being the size that she is, it was like, oh, my mom's short. I'm like, how? Do you carry her in a pocket like a borrower? And that's just the joke.
Like a borrower. Holy shit.
Yeah, because she's like, oh, she's smaller than I am. How?
I haven't thought about the borrowers in forever.
This is what I'm saying. Like, I thought she was like the borrowers. I was like, is her background from a little island called Lilliput? Like, is she on that Gulliver Travels level? Like, so now I just Mom Belina, but every time I call that, it's like, you cannot tell your mom because I'm terrified. Right, okay, you know I'm gonna go.
She actually watches these sometimes.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I was never here.
Thanks, Drew.
I found out there were 6 books to the borrowers.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about the borrowers until you mentioned. I'm like, oh fuck yeah! Now I'm getting these like flashbacks of the borrowers in my head.
Oh, they didn't kill the elephant. Okay, we just kill you in other ways.
I thought about killing him in that story I just sent him recently. I'm like, no, that'd be too easy. So I'm actually crafting a much larger way to murder him, like more spectacularly at the moment.
Stefan, I have just discovered an anthology that you need to make, which is The Many Deaths of Stefan Lear.
That would be epic.
Just throwing it out there. You get everybody. But yeah. Okay. Oh, I was going to go next, wasn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Boom. Hi, everybody. Okay, so When Your Mom is a Nurse. This is what I was going to write a story instead, and then I decided I will just tie together a bunch of little stories that kind of explain things like when your mom is a nurse. And my mom was a nurse, and she was potentially go further with it. She did go into healthcare management eventually, but anyway, that's not anything. Sorry. Dear. But mom, when we were little, most mothers don't walk around with a specific gauge of surgical needle in their purse just in case they have to perform an emergency tracheotomy on somebody. But my mom did. We grew up thinking that discussing surgery and or bodily things or whatever was like just grotesque stuff at the dinner table was an absolutely normal thing to do. Because if we'd ever sit down and be at like picnics and stuff for the company where all the nurses are sitting together, they all just talk about random gross things. So we build up kind of a tolerance to that sort of thing. You learn stuff, but the mom's always good at really checking on things, but she would get random phone calls as well. Like one of her friends called one time for Thanksgiving and was like, Jenny dropped a frozen turkey on her foot. Do you think it's broken? Should we have somebody look at that? And mom was like, well, how big was the turkey? Well, 14 pounds. It's like, yeah, you should probably have somebody look at that. But people would call her rather than driving the like 10 miles to or 15 miles to the hospital and such. But she knew how to do everything. And I learned how to tape up my toes because I'm a klutz when I was very young, and I just keep cloth tape around here. And the problem with it is that mom was also an encourager and also had me reading. So Karma now gets the downside of everything by having an author in the family who writes a lot of horror and has to well, I don't have to, and I've learned better now, but she spent years putting up with questions from me coming in like, okay, if somebody was tied down in a bed in filth, how long would it take if wounds caused by this for sepsis to incur within them? And I would just get these, what the fuck? Why are you asking me this? I don't know. And every family diagnosis gets called into her, but you get some other fun things when your mom is a nurse because you think that you know stuff because she's taught you little stuff. And then everybody's like, well, your mom's a nurse. What would you do? I have some tape. I have some super glue. I do not know what else I would do. I would talk about it later, that's for sure. But she also did things like I'd get a notice. My grandparents lived with her for a long time, and I took care of them and did a lot of staying at her place. But sometimes when I was off, she had like a couple of different times where she had to go to the hospital. And so I get this call, and my uncle's going to come pick me up, and then he's going to run her to the emergency room. And she's probably going to be staying there. And mom's like, okay, well, I have to take a bath first, and I have to help get grandma's meal. And I'm just like, I can help get grandma's meals ready. It's what I do already. But she's like dying of pain and is like, but first I have to do all these things at home before I can go into the hospital. She did this once when I was right after I had my daughter, and I was nursing on the couch, and my mom comes staggering out of her room, grabs hold of it was those things where it's not a door, but there's an entryway into another room. Can't remember what they're called. Slides down it, and I'm just like, are you okay? And she's like, I think I had a stroke. I'll be fine. And then crawls back into her bedroom. And I'm just like, I think I had a stroke, but I'll be fine. she's also done things such as broken her back while she was snowblowing and took the time to get everything put together, climb up, get back into the house and call somebody to get her and stuff. But she's always trying to like do far, far, far too much because nurses will avoid taking medication and will avoid going to the hospital as much as they possibly can. And when she's in the hospital, she goes ahead and adds her number, like, oh, I had to change this out because you guys were busy. So I changed this, and these are my numbers for the chart. And she'll go over the charts herself with people. And if she takes any of us to the emergency room. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk. She's had head injuries and all sorts of things. She keeps almost killing herself, and this is another thing we have going on her birthday. A couple of years ago, we threw a surprise party, and she got out of her car, went back to go get her phone, slipped, fell, and got a concussion on her birthday. But she spent the whole birthday sitting there. She just couldn't have any drinks or do anything. And there were a couple other nurses there, and they're like, "Yep, the pupil dilation." So she went in and had to get treated for a concussion, which they don't really get treated. But another time, she was on a boat thing in Italy, I believe, with my nephew, and they had a bench that she'd been sitting on that had flipped up, and she didn't know it, and she sat down and fell all the way down. And the time when she slipped snowblowing at like age in her late 60s, she slips down while she's snowblowing and breaks her back. But guess who's still mowing and snowblowing and doing stuff if the grandkids can't do it? My mother. She is tough as nails, and she has to put up with a lot of shit from having a horror writer for a daughter. But it's been fun having her as a mother. I love everything. We weren't allowed to ride on motorcycles or do other things because she'd seen too many head injuries in the ER. So we got warned against doing a lot of things and got in trouble, in particular if we did stuff. But if any of you have a mother who's a nurse, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Because, damn, it's an interesting life that I did not realize other people didn't understand until I grew up. So that's my story about my mom. Love you, Mom.
I've got a mother-in-law that's a nurse, and she is epic. And she also decided one day that she wanted to be Jason and Michael's mother. So that is what she became.
Raz, you're still muted.
I'm not used to always like muting during shows, but I always mute when we're telling stories. It's like the respect thing, and then I forget that I've done it. So thank you. No, I love you. I love moms. Every morning pancakes. Everybody else loves their mom once a year. I love all the moms every day.
Oh, I love mine like
It's important.
365. And my mother-in-law.
Yes, you love yours 365. I love all the moms 365. It's important. People like me got to get out there. We got to earn them pancakes.
Just don't call Mom Mombalina to her face. Drill gets smacked.
I would never do that. I adore your mother and also simultaneously fear your mother, and I do not need karma delivered upon me. I know better.
Yes, he had me ask her how the Lollipop Guild was once, and that was
Oh, hell no.
Okay.
Hell no. I just want to point out to everybody, we didn't get a chance to say it earlier. All of our shows on the network, not only do we have Deadly Grounds Coffee as a wonderful sponsor, we are also sponsored by Wicked FX. We absolutely love those guys. They're making some stuff for us right now that we're going to be able to show you guys here in the near future. We're super fucking excited about it too, man. But yeah, we definitely love you, Matt and Wendy. Guys, go check out Wicked FX. We usually throw their link up pretty much everywhere, and we're going to actually have their ads up here in the next week or so as well.
We're moving into an hour. Do you want to play the ads before we move on to the next story?
That would depend, because we're actually only at 49 minutes. So we have a little bit more time. We got time enough for like one more story. Do what?
Martha's is like 10 minutes, so.
Oh, yeah, let's do Martha's. Okay. That'd be perfect.
Okay, the lead in, Martha's my nursey mother-in-law She is a wonderful lady that has taught me so much, helped me through college, and I couldn't ask for a better mother-in-law, and I share everybody's books with her. So here you go.
Was the one when I was younger. I was still living in Crowley with my mom, and it was really the first time I ever realized she had a sense of humor, because I have this issue when I get really, really sleepy. I sleep with my eyes open. And of course, when I was younger, I would sleep on my back with my arms across my chest like this. And Mama came in the bedroom one morning to get me up for school, and I'm laying there on my bed with my arms across me like this and my eyes open. And she realized that I'm snoring, so I'm sleeping with my eyes open. So she goes and gets some plastic flowers and sticks in between my arms there. And then she wakes me up. So I wake up to widow weeds in my face. And from that point on, I started sleeping on my stomach with my hands under me like this. The other instance where I found out that my mother had a sense of humor, I heard this one from my dad. And they were still married at the time, and he was working evening tower on the oil rigs. And he went to come in and couldn't find his key one night, and it was like early in the morning, but it was still dark. So he went, and he was going to climb in the window, but he was just going to climb through the window and just fall backwards on the bed. Well, he climbed in the window and fell backwards and hit the floor, because as it turned out, Mama had been rearranging the bedroom that day, and she moved the bed. And so, growing up, I never realized my mom, I didn't realize she actually could have a sense of humor, but evidently she did. But the first one really traumatized me. After that, I've never slept on my back again. I always sleep on my stomach with my arms under me, but not on my back, because nobody is putting widow weeds in my arms again. Not doing it.
Nice. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Martha. We appreciate you.
Hey.
Oh, we had Mike pop in for just a second.
Hey, Mike.
Hello. Hey, Mike. How you doing? We're doing good. Well, I'm about to die, by the way, because of my shoulder, but you guys know that.
Oh, well, don't die.
Pain. So, did we want to run ads now then? Shall we?
Yeah, might be a good time.
Ooh.
Thank you, Mike.
All right. Actually, Jenny, do you want to do them just because my computer was lagging the first set of ads and I couldn't get to them in time? That's why we had the little pop-ups go.
Okay, I can do that.
All right.
Greetings and shabibans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
And we're back.
We are back.
Welcome. Who we got up next? Okay.
I had a minorly annoying moment with a coworker. She said, "Aren't you going to wish me a happy Mother's Day?" And I don't know her very well, so my response is, "Wouldn't it be sexist to assume all women are mothers?" True. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, it's something where I don't think unless you know somebody is a mother that you really should be wishing them a happy Mother's Day, because there could be things that have gone awry and they were unable to become a mother, and it's a hardship for them. So I think, yeah, you were right in not saying it since you weren't sure.
I've been called a bad mother before, but I don't even have any kids.
I was a BAMF. So
Exactly.
Raz knows he was there.
Yep. I was there.
I was there. I remember. Okay, so on we go, telling tales about our mothers. Who would like to go next, Friday or Ron?
Did you want to
Knock
go next?
yourself out, Friday.
Okay. That I can do.
It's Friday on Sunday.
Exactly. We didn't have a car whenever I was younger. Well, my grandmother had the car and she'd go to work, but my mom didn't. And we'd have to walk just about anywhere we needed to go in town. And this one summer day, we had walked down the road and walked down the hill and stopped at the burger joint and got burgers, and stopped at the gas station and got ice cream. And we went and had a picnic at the park. And we had went to the train, train trailer, train car. That's the word I'm searching for. That was in the park, because we're a big train town in Sadie Daisy. There's always a train going by my house, it seems. And we checked that out. It was so cool. You got to see all the seats and how the doors worked. Because there, for the first little bit when I was younger, they'd let you go in and look around. And before we left, they'd ended up moved away from Sadie Daisy. They had locked the doors so nobody could get in. That didn't stop kids. But we'd go in and we'd look around and see how the train would work and talk about that. And she would help my sister play on the different little parts of the playground, because at that point she was really young. This was the early 90s. And the best part was being able to talk with her and spend time and talk about the different things we could do at the park, different things that we did at school, and it was always fun. She talked about the spirits that would walk around the tall pine trees at the park across from the kids park, where you just walk around or have a picnic, and what kudzu was and why it was everywhere. and she would just explain things. I think my favorite day, we had cookies and cream, ice cream, and we talked about why my friend died and how we could uh, get past it. And it was always fun. But I think my favorite part was whenever we would do races on the bike. We went to the top of the hill and we'd ride down it and see which one of us could go down fast enough. And she would always um, stand up and cheer for us. At the top of the hill, she would talk to us about how just because my cousin won or I won or whatever, the other one shouldn't get mad because it wasn't, it was a race, but it wasn't a winner needs to be mean or the loser has to be sad because there was always another try, always another turn, and somebody else could always win. And I think what um I another thing that was always fun was the cooking classes from biscuits to cornbread. She'd always call cornbread quick bread because she'd get one of the butter bowls, country crock or store brand or whatever we had, and just dump everything in the bowl and mix it up with a cereal spoon and throw it in the oven. And she always had a different hair color, hence why mine has changed a lot throughout my life. I know, all of this is cohesive, I promise. But yeah, I guess the thing I miss most is time. Time had ran out in 1999, and I think whenever I talk about going back to Saudi Daisy, I'm going to go back to a certain time, like November 5th, 1995. And I think in Rastopia that might have been a good day too. I don't know, but I know in my timeline of in Utopia, that would be a good day to go back to. And that's my story, I guess.
Nice. I like that.
November 5th. That's Guy Fawkes Day, right? What year? 1995.
Yeah, it was just a really good day. The fall leaves, we had fun, and I just really like fall because that's when my birthday and mom's birthday was, and she always made fall fun.
Remember the 5th of November.
I'm actually looking at a calendar right now because I think I know what I was doing that day, and I just have to look and see what day of the week that was.
November 5th, 1999 was probably the worst day ever because that's the day she died. Good night. We love you.
You said November. Yep, that's what I thought it was. So that was the day of the rap party for the very first haunt season I ever did.
Oh, okay.
And I got the award that year for making the most people have multiple different kinds of accidents on themselves and won a pass to a local theme park. That was a very good day that day.
That's fun.
I think we built something. It was fun.
And how about Hinata? She says hi. She's like, let me sit.
I have a leg.
Up on the competition.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. I have my father-in-law's leg, and he just sits in here with me in the closet. It's like, why not?
You keep him in the closet, poor guy. It's like, I want to hang out in the living room sometime. I just realized I haven't shown you guys. I have an owl that I didn't think that I had. There's a ceramic owl over there. I just can't get to it because it's in a. There's boxes on every side of it, and I can't lift it from where it's at because it's too heavy. I just found a ceramic owl, so yeah.
I got a owl bag, actually. One of those quilted owl bags. That was nice.
I haven't painted it yet. I found this in the thrift store last year, and it actually looks a little bit like the original steampunk owl logo we used to have. So as soon as I actually get time, I'm going to paint it to look like that.
Oh, yeah. If you guys, I'll see if did we leave the logo in there? I took a bunch of them off. No,
My
I took that
favorite
one
owl,
down.
though, is my magnet owl. And Jenny can tell you where this owl came from.
Oh, the magnet owl? That
Yeah,
one was
listen.
made by Patty, and she sent to me, and I'm like, we're keeping the necklace, but Raz needs the owl.
Yep, that's when you sent me my stocking, and I got my owl, and there's this little there's only a couple actual metal parts on my desk, and it stays permanently magnetized to my desk over here. Not near my computer because I don't erase anything, you know. Well, not that it's strong enough of a magnet to, but it's right where I can see it every day.
Yeah, I confused him. I was hand sewing that one day during the show, and whenever I'd go down, I'd be sewing, and then at the end of the show, he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm sewing you a Batman stocking.
Awesome, I love it. We actually used it this year for Christmas.
Yay!
My wife's like, "We got to go out buy stockings." I was like, "You got to go buy stockings. I fucking got one." Haha.
Yes, I'm going to bring mine to my mother's this year. So I have it hanging on the mantle. Because she has a mantle. Nobody else has mantles. Yeah.
I have part of my mantle from Saudi Daisy.
All right. So, Ron, are you ready?
As I'll ever be.
All right.
So speaking of owls, I'll go ahead and do my story then.
Nice. I approve. That was great.
I have a story about my mom. I do not know whether or not she would approve of me telling the story, as I did not ask her, but I have heard this story so many times in my life, and it changes every single time I hear it. It is best told by my mom and my dad together. Not so much a story as a random collection of thoughts, I think, to extol the virtues of why I think my mother is the best mother ever. To go along with what Carrie said earlier, my mom is also an honorary member of the Lollipop Guild. She is 4'10" and 3/4, barely 4'11". And you cannot say that she is just 4'10". She will fight you for those 3/4. And even despite her diminutive size, she will still kick your ass. And she doesn't even have to do it physically, because she has that look, that mom look, that disapproving look that is an instant onset of guilt that lets you know, oh, I messed up. And you feel instantly guilty, and you find yourself apologizing, whether you meant to or not. She has that power. She is that strong. The force is strong with this one. I love my mom to death. She's one of my closest friends. We talk on a regular, consistent basis. And my one biggest regret is that I wish I could actually spend more time with her now that she's in her 70s. But she's had a good life. My parents have been married for nearly 56 years. I do not come from a broken family, and I did not realize how rare and how special that was until after I graduated college and I moved away from my hometown and I started seeing things in a different light. And I started seeing other people coming from broken families and talking about their parents being divorced or coming from abusive homes or being kicked out. I never had any of that. I was never exposed to any of that because I come from a very tight nuclear family. We have always gotten along, and my parents have always supported me in every endeavor I have ever chosen to do. Martial arts, academia, writing, you name it. My mom has always been there for me. One of my biggest champions. I'd like to think that my parents have such a good relationship with each other because they complement each other. My father knows how to make money. My mother knows how to spend it. And I know that sounds funny, but it's legitimately the truth. My father is an entrepreneur. He ran a business for the better part of 40 years. He's always made money. We've never suffered for needing money. Lights were always on. We always had food. We always had great Christmases. My mom, she knows how to shop. She knows how to find bargains. She knows how to find good deals. She knows how to save money, how to save for a rainy day. So it's like they're two superpowers and they complement each other. For a while when I was in college, I wondered why my parents were so compatible with each other. And for a little bit, I actually got into astrology, and I wondered if maybe astrology had something to do with it. Uh, and I looked at both the Western zodiac and also the Eastern zodiac to see if I could find any answers. And it turns out that they are compatible on both charts. My father is a Scorpio. My mother is Cancer. They're both water signs, and they complement each other. They were born 4 years apart. On the Eastern zodiac, my father was born in the year of the dog. My mother was born in the year of the tiger. They complement each other, even in Eastern zodiac. So I always thought that it was kismet. They were meant to be together, that they were perfect partners. Not to say that they've always had a perfect relationship, because just like any relationship, they go through problems, but they've always managed through communication to work everything out, and they have stayed together. My mom has always said the day that my father stops making her laugh is the day that she will leave him. And they've been married for 56 years. My parents are the cutest couple ever. My father has a bit of the romantic in him, although you would never really know it by looking at him because he's kind of the silent, strong silent type. But he does these little things that they're very endearing. One year for Mother's Day, he bought this giant Mother's Day card. This thing, it must be like 2 feet high and a foot wide. I mean, it's huge. He has given this card to her for Mother's Day, her birthday, Valentine's Day, every year since he bought it. He signs it and puts the year on it, and then keeps regifting it to her. So they've kept this card forever, and it's awesome to look at because it's kind of like a history of their relationship together. I think it's beautiful. It's an amazing thing. It's funny like that, and the story that my parents tell together, it's absolutely hilarious. They will have you rolling in tears by the time they finish telling the story. It's well, are you familiar with the show How I Met Your Mother? Because it's like that. It's one of those stories of How I Met Your Mother. My mother and my father met because, as my mother would say, he kidnapped me. And that is legitimately how they met. He pretty much kidnapped her. So the story goes, my mother was out on a date with some guy at the time. Now, keep in mind, this was the 1960s. My mother was out on a date with some guy. Of course, this is before I was ever born because, they hadn't met yet. So I don't know the full details of it. I don't remember everybody's names. But she's out on a date. They were at a drive-in theater. Her date goes to the concession stand to get some popcorn. And my father, or the man who would inevitably become my father, he shows up at the drive-in with his friends, and he recognizes her date's car as it's one of his friends. He knows the guy that she's out on a date with. So he decides he's going to play a little prank on this guy. And he walks over, he gets in the car, and he starts it up and starts to drive off. Now, at this point, my mom doesn't know what's happening, but she doesn't say anything just yet. But Dad hasn't said a word. He hasn't spoken at all. He just gets in the car and starts to drive off. She doesn't know where she's going. And then he starts to drive her out into the backwoods, into the wilderness. Now she's starting to get a little bit concerned because she don't know where she's at. She don't know where he's taking her because he hasn't spoken. He hasn't said anything. He drives her out to this apple orchard, which was a popular makeout spot at the time, I believe. And then he finally introduces himself to her, and they start talking. And she's freaking out, thinking that she's being kidnapped. She doesn't know what he's going to do to her, if anything. He's like, I'm not going to do anything to you. Your date is a friend of mine. I'm just playing a prank on him, make him wonder what's going on. So he's like, yeah, he knows that the friend will come to that apple orchard to look for him. And so they're there, and eventually, by the time the friend shows up to the apple orchard, they're sitting on the hood of the car, and she's calmed down, and they're already talking. And so that's basically how they met. It started because my father kidnapped my mother, and then he goes off to Vietnam. They kept in constant communication. Mom kept all of his letters from Vietnam. She still has them. They will be passed on to me at some point. And it's just an amazing love story that I really think should be written into a movie, like one of those Lifetime romance movies, because they're such a cute couple. They've had such an amazing life because of his business. They've made enough money. They've been able to travel the world. They've lived in fine, beautiful houses, stayed in posh hotels. He really has treated her like his queen. And this is the standard by which I want to set my relationships, and I've never even come close to it. My father is a role model for what a good father, a hardworking person should be, and my mother is my best friend. She's a role model for what a good mom, supporting her household. And oh, by the way, she's also an amazing cook, and she can cook you anything. So she always, every time I go down to visit for Christmas, she's like, you cannot leave until you finish all this food in the fridge. And it's always like this massive amount of food, like I'm never going to be able to eat. I'm like, Mom, I can't eat anymore. I can't eat anymore. She's like, take it with you on the plane, take it home with you. So I love my mother to death. I love my parents to death. They are very great people. And really, if you ever get a chance to meet them, I think that you would agree, because I feel very blessed to have grown up in the household that I grew up in, because I view it like it was one of those 1980s family sitcoms where you have your drama, but there's always some kind of a comedic resolution and a lesson learned. And this is how I grew up in my life. And I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm very happy to have the mom that I have now. So happy Mother's Day to her. Thank you.
I love that story. That's
Yay. That
Beautiful.
have I ever told you the story of how my grandparents met on my mom's side? I don't know if you've been around for it or not, but my papa he fought in World War II. He was Navy and served a couple different tours, and he'd gotten back in town, and my grandma was one of like 7 kids, and her sister was dating this guy named Elwood, and Papa and Elwood were driving around town, and my grandmother threw a lit firecracker into the car window that they were driving up and down around town with, and scared the shit out of the 2 guys who come back from the war. And they pull over the car, and Papa jumps out, and he's like, "Who is that ornery little shit?" And he's just like, "Oh," his friend Elwood is like, that's Janie's little sister. And after that, they got into a relationship and had a wonderful long marriage. I can't remember how far it'd be now, but they were married for like, I think 60 years before she went, something like that. So those, and I loved how he kidnapped her. That was awesome.
My mom decided she was leaving.
Decided what now?
My mom decided she was leaving that day. So my dad had come to visit her at the family home that they had at that point. And she's like, "Okay, we need to go. I'm coming with you." He's like, "Okay." But he also knew there was going to be a fight if they wanted one, and he was ready to do so. So he checks in his jacket. He's fully loaded, ready to go, and she comes out with her clothes in grocery bags, what little she had, because they didn't have much. And she's like, "Okay, here, take these," and goes back in and grabs a couple more things. And he's like, "Okay," and he's watching, and her siblings are fine with it. And but he wasn't sure about my grandfather or anybody, and she just like, "Okay, I'm good to go." And they go, and they she loads up in his car, and they leave. And it took them a little while to get to the point where they were okay with the idea that she's just like, "Okay, I'm gone." And then it was a few years later that they became on speaking terms with her and her mom and dad again. But that was like one of the most interesting stories I've ever heard about my mom being ready to go. Or my dad's like, "Okay, I'm good with this idea." But I know it worked out. I'm here now, and they were married until she died.
That's awesome, man.
I am jealous of relationships like that. I guess I've seen too that both of my grandparents, both sets of my grandparents had amazing relationships, and it was like totally different relationships too. Like on my dad's side, grandma and grandpa would like to sit and they'd hold each other's hands and stuff like that. And Papa and grandma on my mother's side, when I was taking care of him for like a decade, it was she would go and nag him just to get under his buttons, or just to push his buttons, get under his skin. And he'd do things right back to her, and like she's in a walker, so he'd like swat her on the butt and then run, like kind of run past because she couldn't reach him in time. and do stuff. He sat in her chair one day, and she was just like, "That's my chair. That's where I sit." He's like, "Doesn't have your name on it, does it?" So the next day, she had a Post-it note that she'd written and like stuck it on her chair.
I love that.
And yeah, they were both just totally ornery to each other, and it was just great. Hey, pal. Happy Mother's Day to your mom too, and the lady, all the moms in your life.
I did call my mom this morning for Mother's Day, but I didn't actually do anything special for her. Normally, I do. I try to do something, but I texted her like a couple of days ago. I said, "What do you want for Mother's Day?" And she avoided the question, just completely changed the topic altogether, and I never got an answer. So I texted her back a few days later and said, "You never answered the question. What do you want for Mother's Day?" Again, she avoided the question and changed the topic. I'm like, all right. Then I asked her yesterday, like, "What are you doing for Mother's Day tomorrow?" And she said, "Well, Dad's taking me to Waffle House because I've never had a waffle at Waffle House." So I went, okay. I went to the Waffle House website to see if they sold gift cards that I could possibly have like delivered to her email address so she could use it for her breakfast this morning. And believe it or not, they do sell gift cards, but they don't deliver them electronically. I said, and I texted her back. I said, Waffle House has gift cards, but they take like 3 to 5 days to send. I said it would be too late. She's like, "Oh well, don't worry about getting me anything for Mother's Day." Like it wasn't for lack of trying, because I was trying to be a good son to do something for my mom for Mother's Day. So I did end up calling her this morning, and she did get to go to Waffle House and have her waffles. So her day was made.
Fun fact, I didn't know this for a. Go ahead.
No, sorry.
It was a fun fact about Waffle House. So if you knew she was dressed, like her clothing that day, and you could describe it to the person like at the Waffle House, the register, you can actually call and pay someone's tab by phone. And that's not a thing they advertise. That's not a thing that anyone should like just know. We were fucking with a friend of ours. We had this one friend he was the guy that would not let anyone pay for like, us going out like once in a while to eat. And it would always be Waffle House, nothing expensive or anything. He would never let us do it. But one time he was taking his whole family out, and me and our other 3 buddies got together and we called this Waffle House the week ahead of time. And this was like a Sunday thing, so we knew exactly what time they were going to be there. I mean, it was like a standing thing they did every Sunday. So we called up there the week before to kind of figure out, how to make this work. And they said, if you come in, or at least just call, I'll mark all this down, and I'll make sure whoever knows is going to wait for your phone call. And you're just going to call, give them your card information, everything. We'll verify it. And as long as the payment goes through, you're good. But at least, just let us know who they are, what they look like, so we know you're paying the right person's tab. Well, they wrote down some of the information wrong when my buddy called and paid someone else's tab. I found out because I called my buddy to ask him, how dinner went. Like, hey, we're the ones that paid your tab. And he was like, "Well, you didn't pay ours, but apparently you paid for the table next to us." So if you do it, just make sure you give a really good description on whose tab you're paying.
I'll have to try a waffle. I've never had a waffle at a Waffle House. And whenever we go south, we stop by a Waffle House. But I don't know, for me, that's one of those places where like maybe I'd need to try another one than the one we stopped at. But after my first stop at a Waffle House, I didn't need to have more stops at Waffle Houses. I mean, we've got greasy spoons all over the place here, so I was like, I'm good. I would rather.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of location for the Waffle House, because I live damn near the ghetto here in Columbus, and there's a Waffle House down the road from me. It's not one that you want to go to because it's heavily crime ridden. over there, to a point where they actually had to shut it down and tape it off at one point. But my parents, they live in a ritzy part of Florida, have a Waffle House near their house, and I'm fairly certain it's going to be a little bit more upscale than the one that's down the road from me.
I got to be honest with you, man. Like, I've grown up in bad neighborhoods most of my life, and I've found some of the diners, hole in the walls, even the Waffle Houses, to be better than some of the ritzier places. It just literally depends on who works there. And that's the weird thing, man, because sometimes in the bad neighborhood, we got to take our pride where we can get it, and sometimes that pride is the food. So I've seen it mixed up in different places, though. We've got, like, where I was living in Dayton, we had like 3 or 4 different ones I can get to within 15 minutes. And
I've eaten at the Waffle House that's down the road from me, and I really have nothing against it. It is greasy, but it really all depends on who's cooking and what you eat. There are certain things there that
100%
I would stay away from. If you're going in for a burger or waffle, pancakes, something like that,
that shit's good.
You're fine, but don't eat the steak.
Yeah, I'd never do the steak at a Waffle House, just ever. No matter how good the cook is, just it's not the cook; it's the quality of what you're getting in the first place. Don't do steak there. Yeah, my thing is grits, and I would just go and get me, like, some hash browns with the cheese and the ham and the onions and all that stuff, and a side of grits. Well, I just discovered for the first time when me and Pyle went there earlier this year. No, actually, no, we went there for the haunt last year, at the end of last year. I discovered they have a grits bowl, and they do the same stuff with grits that they do with the hash browns now. And I lost my fucking mind, and it is the most amazing thing ever. So now every time I go with Pyle, I get the grits bowl. It's amazing.
That
My
sounds
mom,
good.
my mom is a gadget freak. She loves little technical gadgets and everything, especially stuff for the kitchen, because that's where she spends the majority of her time, because she likes to cook. She has 2 of everything, so like 2 air fryers or 2 waffle makers, or 2 of this, 2 of that, 2 of this, 2 of that. But she can make you whatever you want and do a bang up job. She could literally feed an army at the drop of a dime, because she has all the gadgets to do it, to make it all at the same time. So you will not go hungry at my parents' house, because mom's constantly cooking something, and you can bet your ass it's going to be healthy. It's low carb, high protein, because that's what she's into.
If I recall correctly, back when we did the 24-hour show, your mom actually watched a little bit of part of that, and as I recall, we have open invites to come and visit your parents if we're out in Florida. So next time I'm out that way, which is definitely next year, because that's when Universal Studios is done with the whole new build. And they've got a whole land built just for Universal monsters that I just have to go and experience. So when I'm out that way, man, I swear to God, I'm going to find out their address. I'm just going to show up in the driveway and be like, hey, I'm here for the food.
Well, I think that I would have to be along with you, otherwise she's not going to know.
Just messing with you. Just messing with you. What were you saying, Del?
Yeah, my dad doesn't like to drive in Orlando, though. He absolutely refuses to do so.
No one does.
Orlando.
My ex lived in Nevada, right outside of Orlando, and when we go visit her parents, oh my God, Orlando sucks.
So if we're gonna go to Universal, then we're gonna have to have our own vehicle.
Yeah.
They ain't gonna drive us.
So what? Oh, I wanted to jump in here after you guys said I had something earlier, but what you guys are talking about right now, when mom had retired and she's gone back to work since then, but during COVID and everything, what she did was she started doing Granny Dash. And Granny Dash is, we have the whole family. There's my sister, her husband, and they have 4, depending on who's home or not. And then there's like my stepsister and her 2 boys, and then my house and whoever happens to be living with mom at the time. And Mads was there for a while in town still. So she would cook up meals, like you're saying, you have 2 of everything. She would be cooking up mad meals. And so we finally got her for Christmas. We all got together and ordered like styrofoam containers, those metal tins that you can put casseroles and stuff in various sizes, little sizer cups for like dressings and gravy, depending on a multiple scale straws, because for a while she was doing Bloody Marys with breakfast and stuff like that, and cups that were deliverable, and all the cases for them, and thermal casing and stuff, so she could take it like around town without anybody's stuff getting cold. And she has just had the best time, and she'll do it like special for the different households, because these guys are allergic to this and these people are allergic to this. So she starts off the base, and then she'll break it up into things before she adds anything else, so that they don't cross, you know, getting somebody's wrong thing. But yeah, she still does Granny Dash, and it's super fun. I usually get invited over to actually eat with her, so that I actually get to get out of the house for a little bit. And it's not going to a restaurant, but it's better because you're sitting around having time, with mom. And my mom is a fabulous cook, so that's awesome. But the other thing I wanted to say, you were talking about what you with presents and things, and just a short while ago, while you were telling your story, she texted me, and what I ordered her for her Mother's Day present was delivered. She needed a new bed buddy for her neck, and I got her the lavender scented microwavable bed buddy. So she's like, I got my present. I'm nice and warm. So yeah, I got happies.
That's awesome.
Making mom happy gives me happies.
Oh yeah. Well, this might be one of our shorter episodes of the Elliott Lady. It's a change up from our 3-4 hour one that I have to edit.
Yeah, well, to be fair, there's a lot of people that are pretty busy tonight, and sometimes when we tell stories, it depends on what all we want to get into. If it's this kind of storytelling, because like there are some great stories about my mom that I totally cannot tell.
Right. And
on
also,
the air, because she'd kill me.
Oh yeah. And we were trying the new format today too, with a lot less chatter in between the stories, so that actually probably made a big difference right there as well. Well, pretty nice though.
Yeah.
Oh, and another way that my parents are very compatible with each other is my mom is a neat freak. She's an obsessive cleaner, and unfortunately I did not get that gene. I kind of wish I had, because it makes me very jealous how clean their house is all the time. And mom always looks at it like, oh, this place is a mess. This place is a mess. I'm like, okay, maybe there's 3 things on the counter and she thinks it's a mess, and you got to go through and clean the whole house. But I mean, their house is fabulous. And my father is he's a tradesman, so he knows how to use all the power tools. He knows how to use everything. He can do woodworking, anything. In fact, he's a bit of an artist. He does stained glass projects. He makes stained glass projects, and he does woodworking and things like that. So he could pretty much build you or make you whatever you want. And he's got a little workshop and all that with all those tools and everything. So, of course, their house is decked out and all these little stained glass things and just little knickknacks and things that mom found either at a Goodwill or at a yard sale, because I love to go to yard sales and Goodwill and all that. Like I said, my mom knows how to spend money, but she gets like these amazing things. It makes her house look like $1 million, and you would never know that she probably bought it for like $1 at a yard sale. Their house is just it's fantastic, and it's extravagantly decorated, and there's just little things all over the house that is like an homage to everybody in the family. Like there's pictures on the wall of my sisters and my nieces, and stuff that I've accomplished, and pictures of my dad's family, pictures of my mom's family, just that kind of thing. It's just this incredible house. Since dad's a tradesman, he knows how to build all this stuff. They have actually built several houses in their time, so they have gone through the whole process of how do we want it decorated, what do we want it to look like, and their tastes complement each other. So when you go into their house, even though it's immaculately clean, it feels comfortable. It feels like home. It's a very warm, cozy environment, you know. And I love going down to visit my parents just because, you know, I like their house, and it's going to be one of those sad days when I know inevitably that I'm going to have to go through all of that stuff, figure out what to keep, figure out what to sell, and then, you know, have an estate auction to get rid of everything else, because all of this work that they put into it is it's just amazing, you know. And it's a team effort that they do all that stuff.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I recharge at Mom's. I get puppy time, I get karma time, and it's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, I know that. I mean,
now I'm out and ready to go.
I spend a great deal of time laying on the couch, binge watching TV while I'm down there because, you know, I'm away from work. I don't have any responsibilities. I don't have to do anything. So it's very nice just to sit down and relax. And they do have a hot tub too on their lanai. So that's always nice.
There you go. On their what?
Hot lanai. It's like a screen patio in the back of a house.
Yep. They're really big in Florida, man. Like really big in Florida.
Yeah.
I learned a new word today. Thank you.
I guess other people might call them a sunroom.
Yeah, that's another name for them, sunroom. It's a little bit different than a sunroom, though. Like they're styled differently, and it's like top to bottom screens. Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the structure, but usually it's all just screened in. You don't get like the wood half walls or nothing like that. It's all like thick industrial, like screening and posts and stuff, and just attached to the back. Sometimes they're huge and they have a hot tub or a pool. Sometimes they're just the perfect area to just chill and grill in, man. Like lanais are amazing. That's the one thing I love about Florida homes, like just straight up, that I wish we could have here.
Yeah, you can't really do it in Ohio because it snows too much here.
Oh no, you cannot.
Nebraska storm just happened while you were telling your story, I believe. Huge rolls of thunder came through, and it's done. It was just like 5 minutes of heavy thunder, no rain, and then it decided it was done. It just likes in Nebraska, the sky likes to just let you know it's there every now and then.
I didn't forget about it.
Texas too.
Yeah, it's just like, so, oh, you forgot about me for a second. I'm gonna rain. Oh, we're gonna have 50-mile-an-hour winds real quick, just for like 10 minutes. Don't worry about it. We're gonna have 8 tornadoes because you guys sucked. You forgot me like for half an hour. So yeah, Nebraska, where the sky attacks you. That's my pitch. It's better than Nebraska. It's not for everyone. You know, I've been pitching this for a while.
Yeah, or Nebraska, where the wind mugs you.
Murder Nebraska. Weather Nebraska.
Yeah. You can get, you can get those personalized license plates that you make yourself rather than the ones I was designing them with different storm fronts over where the letters were that were taken from pictures in Nebraska, because we have some of the craziest wall clouds and stuff that come up. So Mom was like, why does that person have cougars on their license plate? Is that like a thing? Why don't I have cougars on my license plate? And I'm like, well, when you're getting license plates, you can choose if you get this, she's like, oh, I'm like, you can also custom design them. So I want to custom design and get plates where it just says around the thing, Nebraska, where the sky attacks you. I think I can't drive, so I can't use them, but I can design them, folks. If you want a personalized license plate, I'm your girl.
I kind of have this theory, and it sort of goes along with Raz's theory about roundabouts being leading to the creation of hurricanes or tornadoes. I have this theory because there are a lot of roundabouts in Ohio, and I mean a lot of roundabouts in Ohio.
It's if you see when they give birth to 10 more, like the next time you go visit that one spot, like a month later, there's 10 more, and you're like, this is a street of nothing but 20 roundabouts just for no reason. There's nothing here. There's woods. So there's flat ground, dirt. There's no homes.
Because they will have housing development areas where they're starting to develop, so they're clearing all the land out and everything, and they haven't even built the homes yet. But there's like roundabouts all over the place. So I have this theory that Ohio, because we are capable of experiencing all 4 seasons in the same day, is the birthplace of all weather, and then it just spreads out from here to other parts of the nation.
Oh yeah.
And
Gaia is somehow like
a lot to do with that.
Gaia is buried somewhere under the Earth's crust beneath Ohio, and this is where weather comes from. Yeah,
the roundabouts
I
are
buy
what's
it.
causing it to spread outward. That's why the weather is moving outward from Ohio.
I've had it snow in my backyard while it was raining in the front yard, and meanwhile a thunderstorm is going on. 5 seconds later, it's a tornado. Then everything's still and silent, and 2 hours later, it's back up in the 70s.
Yeah,
all in February. Within one
Midwest.
day. It's stupid.
I agree with your theory though, because I don't think that Lincoln had been hit by a tornado because we have the cone of safety that goes out from us, and then there's the Omadrome or the Omadome. I mean, that because the Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. We're protected by weather because we have weather people that should be doing things at Air Force bases and stuff. We have weathermancers. And but they started putting in roundabouts, and Lincoln got hit by tornadoes again. And we've been putting in more, and we just had them dropping down, like kind of by where some of the roundabouts are. So, yeah, I believe you, because we didn't have any, and then we did, and then for the first time since the 1970s, Lincoln is getting hit by a tornado.
I'd never heard the theory before, and then me and Pyle, he was driving me home after we were doing all the Frogman stuff. And we hit LaSwordsville, and there was literally just this long street. Again, developments that were going to go in eventually. We start going. We hit the 10th one. He's like, you know what? You ever hear this theory? And he tells me all about it. And we laughed so hard. So then we drove around one 3 times really quick. Nothing happened. But we think it's because we didn't believe in ourselves. Yeah, that's true. We didn't believe in ourselves enough. Oh, I did it. Hey, kids, Big Ben. I totally did it every single time we ran around. Yeah, I do that to my own family constantly as well, just because.
I can't get anybody to drive around it more than once. They won't. I'm like, no, come on, let's just drive around the roundabout a couple times. There's only one really good roundabout. The rest of them, you don't really notice them until you're driving over them because they're this tall.
Oh, gotcha.
But there's one that's big, and you see it, and that's over by my mom's place.
Yeah, we got a couple really big ones, and it's mostly small to medium-sized ones everywhere. There's even part of the highway now there's a shoot off of 75, as you're getting, I wouldn't say over near Austin Landing, then one by Cincinnati. There's these giant highway level ones where you're getting on or off the highway with different exits, but I've never seen a highway based fucking roundabout. That is terrifying. It's fucking terrifying.
I think I prefer the cloverleafs.
Roundabouts and cloverleafs, man, they're all over Ohio. But Raz, just because you went around a roundabout 3 times and nothing happened, it doesn't mean that it didn't happen there. You're causing that butterfly effect outwards. It could be happening somewhere else.
That's true.
You're what caused the tornadoes
in Nebraska.
Yeah. I'll have to work on harnessing that power. And we were also doing it in the creeper van, so that's a huge fucking van going around too. I think if we'd have believed in ourselves hard enough and gone around just one more time, we would at least seen when you take a bottle and you fill it full of water and you put Monopoly houses in it and you really fast and you make the twister in the bottle. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before. We used to have to do that for science experiments in school as kids. Oh, dude, do it, Dell. Just get a 2-liter and get some Monopoly houses and throw them in there with water and just shake it around and just hold it still. And you'll just see an actual twister raise up in the water and spin your houses around.
I know how the tornado in a bottle works. I've never heard of sacrificing Monopoly pieces to it.
Well, yeah, you just go to the thrift store and buy a Monopoly game that doesn't have all the pieces anyway, but it's got the houses, and you just put the houses and hotels in there with the water, and you're good.
That's a really good idea for a game.
Hey, on your science project.
Monopoly, the Wizard of Oz version.
They have that.
Do they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's the Wizard of Oz version of Monopoly. Not with that, but that would be cool.
You get the Monopoly version of Wizard of Oz. You shake the house like that.
That would be cool. Okay. Everybody, You had your Monopoly game, and there was always at least one game piece that belonged to something else that was not an actual Monopoly piece that was in your game, because you got something and you had no idea what to do with it until suddenly you're playing Monopoly one night and you're like, you know what we could do? We could grab that thing and put it in our Monopoly game. So mine, we had a piece of glass that was just like a chunk of glass, you know how they have those, like a piece of blue glass that was, and it was smoothed at least, so it wasn't slicey open constantly. But that was ours. So what were you guys's extraneous Monopoly pieces?
We played Murderopoly and just used all the potential death weapons from Clue as our tokens. Because something happened and our Clue board got destroyed and all we had left was like the pieces and like the writing pad. So we were just like, more Monopoly pieces. Let's play Murderopoly.
Yeah, you
All
know,
right.
you lose pieces, and then you're looking around for anything that's small enough that you could use, like a paperclip or.
Hero Quest figures from that old game they work like the Chaos Warriors work really well for that too.
Friday, did you have anything cool as your extra Monopoly pieces or piece?
We had the little dragon star balls for one night, and then little little things like the mask for my Mighty Ducks collection.
Nice. That's fucking epic. I love that.
I
Ron?
miss those dolls.
Honestly, I don't know. It's been forever since I've played Monopoly, so I really can't remember what we used, if we used anything. I was always a cowboy hat.
Fair enough.
Nice.
Or the car.
Oh,
Or the shoe.
Yeah, the car. I usually did the car.
I like
before
the
we started
shoe,
using
too.
our own pieces.
Get some of those Warhammer 40K pieces and use those.
It worked. Yep, done it. I've done
That
it.
would be
Yep.
awesome.
It's fun. It brings a whole new level to games, man. We used to also use the Warhammer 40K figures for Risk instead of all the little things that come with Risk. I just felt like it was on point.
I would play the orcs, and then I land on somebody's property, and they're like, "You owe me $500." Really? Daka 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 daka.
It's awesome.
We will raise your village.
I mean, we were definitely a board game household. We had over like 50 or 60 board games in a giant closet. And that's where our towels and things would go in normal homes. But that was our closet for board games. And every Sunday, me and my brother and my sister, we had numbered every single game. And we had this little hat. And we had all the numbers were in the hat. And we'd each get to pick a game out that day. And we'd all sit down and play it. Half the time, it was just the three of us. Sometimes Mom would play. Once in a blue moon, Dad would play, or a guest that we have over, Granny would play. But like every Sunday, all growing up, that was all day long was board game day.
You just
And now
reminded
I live
me.
with people that like they'll play board games like once every couple years now. Like I can't. They used to like board games, but now it's just me and my weird collection of games.
That reminds me of a story about my dad, actually. This one's not about my mom, it's about my dad. This is a testament, just another thing about him, that an example of why he's a good dad. So, as you all know, I am visually impaired and I don't see colors very well. I had a checkerboard set. It was red and black, and the pieces were red and black as well. The board itself wasn't so bad, but the checker pieces were very hard for me to distinguish which were red and which were black. I always had a problem with that. My father was really into building model cars. He had a whole collection of them on a glass shelf in his business. So he had some silver paint that he used for his models. And he went through and he painted the crown on every single one of the black checkers so that they would stand out against the red ones. Because I could see the silver on black, and I knew that those were the black ones, and the red ones were just normal. So my dad did that for me, so I would be able to play checkers.
That's super cool.
That's awesome.
Okay, if anybody knows what this game is, the instructions were lost. But it was a game that we had at my grandmother's, but when we went to clean out their place, I never found it. So she must have just gotten rid of it at some point. It's a game that is a board that is covered with little holes for pegs, and you can put in different gray, tall plastic pegs. And then there are little things that look like plastic wrenches, but they match to the tops of them. So you can make like walls. And I'm assuming it's something similar to Othello where you try to trap people in or take over different sections. But there were like red ones and black ones, and the pegs were gray. And I would build cool walls and different really cool mathematical configurations with it, but I never learned what the game was called or how to play it. So if anybody knows, anybody watching, please let me know what that game was so I can look it up and figure out how to play it and possibly buy one of my own, because I loved it as a little one, but I never got to play the actual game because nobody knew how it worked.
I'm striking a blank.
Yeah,
That sounds
I'm
really
just asking.
familiar.
If anybody's watching us on YouTube or something, just give a shout out if you know what that is. We're about to the 2-hour mark, though, guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Probably a good time for me to head out so I can get ready for bed.
Yeah,
So,
it's a good spot to end the show on, I think.
Yeah. We talked a lot about moms.
Moms. And we got a great week coming up this week, guys.
Busy one. What do we got going on
Tomb of the Terrible. We got Tomb of the Terrible going on tomorrow, and that is going to be the movie Prey, the first Christian horror movie. After that, we have on Wednesday at 7 p.m. There's going to, 8 p.m. Eastern, Corpse Garden episode, and then on Thursday we will have the Owlite Adventures SCP. So that
Busy
is
week.
In this episode, we're talking about natural disasters and what it has done to cemeteries.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
What is the show for next Sunday?
Next Sunday, we will be doing an Owl Art picture show with the folks from over at Magenta Manor.
Yeah,
So we're going to learn some about their movie making process. They are also a part of the Dorkening. There's some really cool people, Patsy and Ashes. They're a couple that work together and make some great movies. And I'm just going to throw out there while I'm talking about shows, if you're a fan of Jim Calafiore, I'm a fan, I just can't pronounce his name. Catch us Tuesday night over on Splash Pages for that.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have him coming in. He's got a Kickstarter. He gave us previews for it. It's fucking awesome. So, yeah.
That's super cool, man.
Well, if anyone happens to be around the Ohio area for next weekend is the Buckeye Lake Pirate Fest, which is where I will be all weekend. We go heading out there early Friday morning to help the vendors set up, and then we have the Pirate Fest all day Saturday, and we are doing a treasure hunt. There are 40 or 50 pirate treasure chests around the lake by various businesses and sponsors and vendors that want to get in on the action. You show up to the community center, you will get a little treasure map that will show you where they all are. Then you go around Buckeye Lake and find all of the pirate treasure chests. There will be a QR code. You scan the QR code and you will be entered into a lottery to win the contents of that particular chest. And each chest is at least $150 worth of prizes. It could be cash, it could be swag, it could be gift cards, it could be meal vouchers, it could be t-shirts. You never know what the vendors are going to put in it, but it's at least $150 worth of merchandise. Going to be very exciting. We've got a pirate ship coming down from Michigan with pirate performers, professional actors that do theater and pirate ship. Lots of vendors, lots of food, steampunk theme, mermaids, pirates, everything. It's going to be a good time. If you happen to be around Ohio and would like to check out the Buckeye Lake Pirate Fest, please come down. It's open, a family-friendly event. It's open to the public for anybody that's interested. That's where I'll be. So I most likely won't be here for any shows happening this weekend. So
That's awesome, though. That
We got
sounds like
nothing
so
going
much
on this
fun.
weekend. Oh yeah, it does. I was hoping to get down there to it, and then Fred's like, "Yeah, we're gonna start our hiring event this weekend." And I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, hiring people would be good."
yeah, we'll be doing our ribbon cutting ceremony on Friday for the actual show, which will start on Saturday and run all day. So there's going to be quite a bit of festivities. This is the first year that we're doing it, but it will not be the last because we've had really good response to it up to this point.
That's fucking awesome,
If
man.
you
I
do
love to
some
hear that.
sing,
What's that,
if
Del?
you do some if you do some singing, like if you get together all the pirates and do a shanty or something like that, you got to record it so we can play at least part of it or one shanty on the show sometime, like a padded
Yeah.
cell or something, because that would be awesome. I
I
love
don't know if
pirates.
it'll be me, but I'm sure I can probably get some video of something like that happening.
Yeah, definitely get some various videos, man. If you can send them over to me, I can put something together for you too.
All right.
That'd be cool to have.
Yeah, something to help
Yeah.
advertise next year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're 1 week out, so I think at this point it'd probably be a little too late to try to advertise it on here. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a worthwhile endeavor, and I'm very excited about it. And I'll be out there in my full pirate garb.
You can never go wrong with pirates, dude. Just straight up, never go wrong with pirates.
I saw a meme that said pirates are just tropical goth.
I mean, they're not wrong.
I love that. It's kind of
Fair.
true, at least in my case.
Yeah. So other than the Pirate Fest, where can we find you?
I do have an author page on Facebook now. I'm still trying to sell copies of my book. The one that you see pictured over my shoulder here, Inside My Nightmares, is my first book. I'm very excited about it, and I've had really good response up to this point. I've been making a few posts lately about my writing process because I'm currently working on my next book, which will be a novel. And believe it or not, I was just in talks with a friend of mine who is a professional rap artist who just released an album Friday on Spotify. His name is MC Snacks, and the album is called Water Slides in Heaven. He has a song on that album that's called The Pizza Ghoul, about this ghoulish slice of pizza that haunts his nightmares and tries to entice him to get up in the middle of the night and raid the fridge and eat the leftover pizza. I thought that this would be a really great idea for a series of short stories a la Tales from the Gas Station. If anybody's familiar with that
Gas
podcast.
Station Jack, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Tales from the Gas Station. It's a podcast and short stories also, and it was turned into an audiobook, which is it's a phenomenal book. It really is. It's a great book. And I thought that Tales of the Pizza Ghoul would make a great collection of stories to put together, kind of along that same idea as Tales from the Gas Station. So we talked about it, and he wants to do this to start writing stories that we can put together in Tales from the Pizza Ghoul. So I'm hoping that it'll be my first collab.
That's awesome, man. That sounds really cool. That's right up my alley too, man. I'm a huge fan of Tales from the Gas Station, Midnight Burger, a lot of that kind of. I listen to all that stuff all like over and over and over.
Yeah, Snacks. He's not your typical ordinary rapper. He doesn't rap about like gang stuff or misogynistic type topics about treating women or fancy cars or anything like that. All of his stuff is about food and video games and positive vibes, and that shows through in his music. So it's very chill kind of rap music, and I really dig it. So
Oh yeah, man. Kind of makes me think of a huge a little bit.
Yeah, along that same line, nerdcore rap is, and he works a lot with MC Lars and Schaefer the Dark Lord.
Hell yeah. I actually love nerdcore rap, man. It's fucking awesome.
And he's coming into town May 23rd on his new tour, and he'll be at the Roomba Cafe.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna take him a bag of chips.
That's epic.
Be like, fun. You're all that. Now you're all that with a bag of chips.
Exactly. All right, snacks, you're all that. Now here's your bag of chips to go with it. I like
it. So where can we find you, Del?
Oh, you can find me. I get to go. Yeah. You can find me here on the Owlite Network for about half of our shows. You'll probably be here pretty much every Sunday, every other Monday, every other Thursday, and sometimes I pop on random days. It just depends on what kind of show we have going on and whether I actually have any knowledge of it or not. You can also find me every Tuesday at 8 p.m. instead of 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Splash Pages on the Dorking Network. And other than that, look up on Facebook if you actually want to reach out to me. Kari, Carrie Sanders. If you see this, that is my avatar. You'll know you have found me. On that list, you have all of my links to everything, to my Amazon page, to my author page, to my TeePublic. I made a couple of different shirts page, including Use the Fucking Forums. You all know who you are. Yeah, so you can write, you can get a hold of me on my main page, or if you'd like to get a hold of all of my other pages, you'll probably end up speaking to Argyle Friday, Jenny. So yeah.
Oh yeah, and stay with me. If you type in Raz T Slasher anywhere online, you're gonna find me on all the social medias, and you'll be talking to the #1 Raz T Slasher cosplayer of the world, which is Saint Friday over here. That's what I call her, Saint Friday. You can also find me at raztslasher.com and your mom's house tomorrow morning with a special celebratory pancake breakfast. Like every morning.
Waffles.
No, pancakes, man. I'm a pancake guy.
Okay, coming out on the 24th is Fae Propaganda, an anthology of all types of Fae stories. You will find me. You will find Ron. You will find Raz. We all have wonderful stories. And you'll probably seen the ads I've been putting everywhere. Del didn't join that one. Del joined the Menagerie.
Del tried to join that one, but Del ran out of time to make a story that I actually felt was worthy of being printed.
Slacker.
And I gotta say, I'm pretty proud. I'm pretty proud of the 2 stories that I wrote for Fae Propaganda and Owlite Menagerie, because they're very different than the types of stories that I usually write.
Yeah,
but they're so good.
Yeah, I'm enjoying them.
My Menagerie one is the first thing I've written or done in a while that's not just first person. That's weird.
On the 4th of next month, you will find Owlite Menagerie, and you will see all of us, Raz, Del, Ron, and me, and a whole bunch of other awesome people, all in both anthologies, some great people, and 2 of the stories from Owlite Menagerie. You can find the Del story, the Nightmare Machine, or
the Nightmare House VR.
Yeah.
The Nightmare House VR in our Campfire Cinders, and you can find Dust Blue Camaro in the Campfire Cinders. If you would like to find out how amazing some of our stories are, go listen to both of those. And you'll find links everywhere. I'm working on getting links everywhere that I can of to find both anthologies. And you can find me here. You can find me at Fake Horror. You can find me at my page, Friday with the Library of the Blue Box, and my author page, Jennifer Elliott. And if you're wondering why Jennifer, not Jenny, that is the name my mom gave me, and I think it's the perfect way to honor her. Use my full name because she gave me such a pretty name.
There you go. It's perfect.
All
I
right.
named
Well,
after my dad.
it was great seeing everybody tonight. We love you. Come back and visit us, and we have more stories to tell. Good night, everybody.
Absolutely.
Always
See
Good
ya.
night.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us.